One Zambia, one nation, and welcome to Zanis News. We look at the headlines in the news tonight. Government committed to creating an enabling environment for journalists. Stored works at Mumbwa Trades Institute to resume. Nsama District Commissioner concerned with continued floods. Plus, Eastern Province continues to record high teenage pregnancies. While with the menus in detail, my name is Margaret Kangwa and my sign language interpreter is Joash Shikombwe. Now, government has reaffirmed its commitment to creating an enabling environment for journalists to work safely and freely. Minister of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana says the government acknowledges the various challenges faced by journalists, hence the need to create an enabling environment. Audrey Kalenga reports that the Permanent Secretary said this today during the 2024 World Press Freedom Day held at the Freedom Statue in Lusaka. Details in this report.
World Press Freedom Day is an important annual event that celebrates the fundamental principles of press freedom and highlights the challenges journalists face around the world. Today, several media houses converged at Lusaka's Freedom Statue to commemorate their day. Officiating at the event, Minister of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana reiterated the government's firm commitment to addressing the challenges faced by the media in the execution of duty.
Today, as we commemorate World Press Freedom Day, let us reaffirm our commitment to a free, independent and vibrant press. Let us recognize the power of journalism as a force for positive change in addressing the environmental crisis and building a sustainable future for all. In the face of the environmental crisis, our government pledges 6 things. We reaffirm our commitment to upholding press freedom as a fundamental human right. We pledge to safeguard journalists' ability to report on environmental issues without fear of censorship or reprisal.
Sector players from UNESCO and the United Nations also recognize the role of the media in national development and societal equity.
And I also want to give context, the Zambian context, to the theme for this year, which is the press for the planet, journalism in times of environmental crisis. There are basically 3 aspects, a permanent secretary, that underpin this theme in the case of Zambia. The first one is the fact that the country, like all countries around the world, has been hard hit by the devastating effects of climate change. The reason for this one is very simple: unsustainable livelihoods everywhere.
The context of this year's theme, Guest of Honor, we are fully aware of the challenges that media encounter in the face of environmental crisis arising from climate change.
The Media Liaison Committee Chairperson Enes Chanda also addressed several issues affecting journalists.
It is yet another time when we should gather as a family to reflect on our profession, successes we have scored and challenges we have faced as a media fraternity. Among the successes we have scored in the last 1 year is that after constant advocacy for almost 3 decades by various stakeholders, including us in the media fraternity, the government of the Republic of Zambia finally enacted the Access to Information Law. This is commendable, and we hope that the government will continue listening to our advocacy on many other issues. However, we await the actualization of this law. We therefore implore the government to issue a statutory instrument to that effect.
Meanwhile, Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia board member Linda Simwenga thanked the organizers of the event and called on government to continue supporting the working environment of journalists.
With various media events, MISA, we publish various publications, some in favor of the government, others not in favor of the government, but he has been there through and through to listen to those reports and what we have to speak. And so we commend you for that. And also to the organizing committee, we commend you for the job well done to put everything together that has culminated into this event.
This year's Press Freedom Day was being held under the theme Press for the Planet, Journalism in the Face of Environmental Crisis, underscoring the critical role of journalism in addressing environmental challenges globally. Audrey Kalenga for Zanis in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization Zambia team leader Ali Saili says our institution is committed to helping Zambia address environmental issues in line with the country's 8th National Development Plan. Ms. Saili was speaking when she officially opened the 2024 National Media Conference in commemoration of the World Press Freedom Day in Lusaka today. She said the role of the media is not only promoting environmental sustainability, but also driving positive behavior change for a better environment. This year's World Press Freedom Day is being commemorated under the theme, A Press for the Planet, Journalism in the Face of the Environmental Crisis.
So all these interventions need you, as the media, to help tell the story, the compelling story. You need to help people embrace alternatives as well as adaptation and mitigation methods. Do not underestimate the power that you have to help people make positive decisions regarding their livelihoods.
There are broadly two ways in which to address the challenge of climate change. One is to adapt to the impacts. You're already experiencing the impact of climate change, and so you need to respond to that, and we call that as adaptation. Whether it is irrigation, as we are doing now in the face of drought, whether it is construction of infrastructure that takes climate change into account so that bridges are not washed away, the roads are not damaged, whether it is moving from hydropower generation to solar, those steps are referred to as adaptation, and it's an important step to take. The second, but probably the most important one, is we need to address this issue at the root cause.
And our Mongu Press Club has donated assorted items to Little Noah Children's Home, a child care facility in Mongu's Katongo area. And Mongu Mayor Nyambe Muyumbana graced the event, where members of the Press Club also planted indigenous trees. Here is a report.
In celebration of World Press Freedom Day, the Mongu Press Club in Western Province embarked on a meaningful initiative to give back to the community. They visited a local childcare facility called Little Noah's Children's Home and donated essential supplies to the children. Pastor Lagos Pensolo of Union Baptist Church is the manager of the childcare facility.
This is a boys' home, since we have seen that some people are championing girl child everywhere. And us 10 years ago, we thought, okay, let's take care of the boy. As if we were led by the Holy Spirit, I think we have seen the number of junkies increasing. So I think we are in the right track to start the boys' home. So apparently we are having 9 boys. So the oldest among the boys is 20 years old, and the youngest is 1 year 4 months.
Ms. Sfuwe Mwangala is the chairperson of the Mongu Press Club.
You have seen there are people from different media houses. Yes, so we thought today, instead of doing the usual commemoration, maybe we do something different. We come here and just have a short time with our children here. Yes, and also we invited the mayor, as one of us is also a journalist. So we thought maybe can interact, maybe encourage us in one way or the other. So even when we're looking at an orphanage that we can celebrate with on our day, we thought yours was unique. Sure. Because most of them are helping girls, but you decided to look at the boy child who is...
After the donation, the Press Club didn't stop there. In line with this year's theme, A Press for the Planet, Journalism in the Face of the Environmental Crisis, they also organized a tree planting ceremony.
We are in a crisis, and it's through the environment, the climate change. And for us in the media, this has been the center of informing the people. We want people to get more information. At the end of the day, when people have more information, we'll change the narrative today and say we have a healthy planet.
The president is also concerned about climate change. And so he says no one is going to die of hunger in Zambia, despite the situation that we have. I'm humbled to come here. Sometimes even if you don't see us be with you journalists, we are with you in the spirit and we understand what you're passing through. But sometimes feel free to share with us your challenges also.
As we celebrate World Press Freedom Day, let us remember that journalism is not just about reporting the news, it's about making a difference in the world around us. Namakao Kayombo, reporting for Zanis in Mongo District, Western Province.
Minister of Information and Media Cornelius Mwitwa says government remains committed to its hands-off approach to media operations in the country. Mr. Mwitwa has since urged journalists across the country to take advantage of the favorable environment that government has created for them to carry out their duties of keeping the public informed. Mr. Mwitwa, who is chief government spokesperson, says government will not interfere or infringe on the rights of citizens, including the media. He was speaking in Monze today during the World Press Freedom Day commemoration held at Chikuni radio station.
World Press Freedom Day provides an opportunity to raise awareness about the importance of press freedom and the challenges faced by journalists. And government wants journalists to take advantage of the favorable environment it has created to keep the public well informed.
We would like to take this opportunity to remind them to take advantage of the favorable media environment that the government under the new Dawn administration of President Hakainde Hichilema has created. The new Dawn administration came into office. It was a crime of the media and the public at large that they needed the access to information law, control and interference in the operations of the media, particularly the public media, was the order of the day. In the almost 3 years of the new Dawn administration, there is no known record anywhere of any media house that has been intimidated with closure or one that has been closed. Zero. There is no proper record known to myself and the Minister of Information and Media where a journalist has been attacked at a public gathering, particularly of a ruling party or a state function. Zero.
Mr. Mwitwa, who is also chief government spokesperson, dismissed media reports circulating on social media suggesting that Catholics hate President Hakainde Hichilema.
I therefore would like to dismiss as misinformation a captioned headline by one of the daily tabloids today that has said the Catholic bishops hate HH, says UPND. UPND is here. As government spokesperson, I'm fortunate also to be the party spokesperson of the party in government. And I'm saying this particular party and its government are in good terms with its developmental and religious partners, the Catholic Church, like any other churches in Zambia. We shall continue to work together.
And US said Open Space has assured government of its support to implement the Access to Information Bill.
The progress that we are seeing the government of Zambia make in terms of reforming the media environment here. We've heard about the progress on the Access to Information Bill, which has become law as His Excellency the President signed into law earlier this year. Now the hard work of implementation begins, and USAID stands ready to support.
We are supporting the creation of an enabling environment in media, an enabling environment for civil society, an enabling environment for media houses and for journalists through the support for adoption, amendments of laws.
Mwitwa commented on the just ended local government by-elections.
As a government whose party in government swept all the 9 local government by-elections yesterday, we want to thank the citizens for a show of strong solidarity and support to the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema by that litmus test in that election yesterday.
Kalunga Msonda, Zanis News, Monze District, Southern Province.
In other news, Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Doreen Mwamba, has commended Project Nyamansa Orphanage in Ndola for taking care of more than 60 orphans and abandoned babies. Ms. Mwamba says it is not easy to look after children, but the organization has taken it upon itself to provide decent shelter to the vulnerable and orphaned children. More in this report.
The act of taking care of the vulnerable people in the community is a rare attribute that few organizations exhibit. In Ndola district, Project Nyamensa Orphanage, situated in Sakanya area, is keeping about 60 children, who includes orphans, vulnerable, and abandoned babies.
Is an organization which has the main objective of creating a positive, loving environment in which orphans, abandoned and neglected children feel at home and cared for as a basis for social and professional development.
Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Doreen Mwamba, visited the orphanage to appreciate the work the organization is doing to help the less privileged children in society.
People have children, they just leave them. For the caregivers at this institution, only God, the giver of life, the giver of everything that is in life, will reward you. It is not easy. It is not easy to look after children, even your own biological children. It is not easy. But you have found it in your hearts to look after children who are not yours. And we can clearly see that these children are properly looked after.
She also thanked the organization for taking care of these vulnerable children.
To the owners of this institution, I don't know how to thank you, and I don't know how to express the appreciation. As a minister who's mandated to look into the welfare of children, I don't know how I can thank you that you found it within yourselves to dedicate your lives to look after children that are not yours. It is a calling.
Children, regardless of their plight, are the future leaders, and embracing the welfare of the orphans and abandoned children is a commendable gesture. Tovini Ngombe, Zanis, Ndola.
Indeed, good works must be appreciated. We now take our first break. When we return back, join us for education and health news.
The Issue is a program that looks at topical issues happening in the country. Watch The Issue every Friday at 19:30 hours, only on Zanis TV, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH on Topstar. Don't miss.
How I Made It is a program that delves into the many success stories of different people from all walks of life. Watch How I Made It on Zanis TV every Thursday at 18:30 hours on the Topstar channel, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH.
Welcome back. We now continue with education news. Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata has assured residents of Mumbwa district in Central Province that the construction of the 48 million kwacha Mumbwa Trade School, whose works have stalled, will be completed. And speaking when he inspected the project, whose works started in 2017 and were scheduled for completion in 2019, Mr. Kapata says government intends to complete the construction works of the first ever tertiary education facility in the district.
This is the much-awaited Mumbwa Trade School, which is under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Much work has been done, such as 17 decent staff houses, 2 1x3 classrooms, 2 workshops, a demonstration block, and student hostels all have been erected. Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata has toured the construction site.
Contrary to some speculations suggesting that the government has abandoned the project, taxpayers' money was spent for erection of this particular structure. This resonates well, of course, with the presidential call for education for all, meaning that students who will be under CDF sponsorship shall be sent here to study different courses.
District Buildings Officer Justin Sikazwe disclosed that over 70% of work has been done.
Then we have also 1x3 classroom blocks by 3. Then we have tuition block. Then we have the administration block. Then we still have the library. Then we have got 2 hostels there for male and female.
Meanwhile, the caretaker now shares some challenges the construction site faces.
Then my challenge I met nayo mapezeka mu manyumba mamene mabisama bakawarara bamasiya bintu voyipa bantu bamabwana ma girlfriend bora kuchita bintu voyipa mamene manyumba government.
Rugasyankuru, Zanis, Mumbwa.
Thank you so much for that report. We still continue with education news. 93 students in Siavonga constituents who were sent to Stafford Skills Training Center in Lusaka under the 2023 Constituents Development Fund have asked the local authority to redirect them to another college following the closure of the institution for failing to meet required vocational training standards. And the students says they spent 3 months without learning because the college could not offer the courses they applied for. And Siavonga Council Secretary Costa Mutandi says the district administration has taken care of the matter.
These are the 93 CDF-supported skills training beneficiaries from Siavonga who were sponsored at Stafford Skills Training Center in Lusaka. The students are among others who have been affected by the closure of the training institution for failure to meet the required vocation training standards. They alleged that they applied to other skills training institutions but wondered how they found themselves at Stafford Training Center, which could not offer the courses they applied for.
We applied in different schools, but unfortunately, we find ourselves to be at Salford Institute, where we didn't apply. There at Salford, about 93 students we reported there. When we went there, we started questioning why we find ourselves there. But we didn't find the clear answer. We were not given the clear answer about how we find ourselves there, that side at Salford Institute.
The students were sponsored under 2023 CDF to start plumbing, metal fabrication, power electrical, carpentry, among others. Siavonga Town Council Secretary Costa Mtandi has assured the students that his office will handle the matter.
As a local authority, we are getting in touch with our relevant authorities to find an amicable solution of sending them to other training schools where they will complete the skills that they need.
Brandina Lambwe reporting, Siavonga District, Southern Province.
Thank you so much, Brandina Lambwe, for that report. Now we get to health news. The government has disclosed that 100% of the health facilities constructed since 2022 have boreholes and water reticulation to provide running water and flushable toilets in the country. And Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo says 709 out of 2,587 of the old health facilities for both staff and patients that lacked running water have now been provided with the commodity. And speaking during the marking of the World Hand Hygiene Day in healthcare facilities in Lusaka today, Ms. Masebo stated that the government is working towards ensuring that all the health facilities get connected to running water.
I'm proud to inform you today that 100% of the health facilities constructed since 2022 have boreholes and water reticulated to provide running water and flush toilets in our health facilities. In addition, 28%, that is 709 facilities out of our 2,587 old health facilities that did not have running water now have running water and waterborne toilets. This is for both staff and our patients. Work is ongoing to make sure that all the health facilities get connected to running water through the Ministries of Health, Ministries of Water Development and Sanitation, as well as local government and rural development. This is highly commendable, and I want to assure you that under Ministry of Health, this is ongoing, and we hope that by the end of the first term, we should have ensured that all the 2,000 plus health facilities get water and flushable toilets. It is important to stress that hand hygiene is a key defense in the fight against the spread of infection. As earlier alluded to, 80% of all infections are transmitted by hands. To help empower those within our facilities in their efforts to reduce infection transmission, it is crucial to underline the importance of hand hygiene at the points where it matters most.
And lastly, in health news, UNICEF and other cooperating partners have handed over a fully furnished medical oxygen plant to Kitwe Teaching Hospital. And Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo, who graced the handover ceremony, says the plant is a milestone in the country's efforts to improve healthcare services. More in this report.
Medical oxygen is an essential element in the provision of healthcare services. And for many years, government health facilities have been depending on procured medical oxygen. This has been a challenge as the commodity remained limited, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, which led to loss of many lives. And to address this challenge, UNICEF and other cooperating partners have handed over an oxygen plant at Kitwe Teaching Hospital, constructed at a cost of $1.6 million, funded by the Swedish government. Copperbelt Minister Elisha Matambo attended the handover of the plant.
Ladies and gentlemen, this commissioning holds profound significance as it also aligns seamlessly with the Ministry of Health goal of making Zambia a nation of health and productive people by the year 2030. Our celebration today underscores the UPND's unwavering commitment and dedication to making strategic investments in healthcare infrastructure, oxygen production, and the safe administration of this life-sustaining resource to patients in need. The official handover of the newly constructed oxygen plant at the Kitwe Teaching Hospital by our partners UNICEF and the United Nations Office for Project Services, as well as others who are involved in this important project. The handover of this oxygen plant worth $1.6 million is highly valued and treasured by the Zambian government and its people. Ladies and gentlemen, from the onset, let me express my deepest appreciation for the collaboration efforts between the government of Zambia, UNICEF, United Nations Office for Project Services completing and record time the installation of the oxygen plant at this hospital.
UNICEF country representative Penrop Campbell and Swedish ambassador to Zambia note the importance of readily available oxygen in healthcare service provision.
The facility we're launching today has been constructed at a total cost of $1.6 million or 41.9 million kwacha through a UN-to-UN agreement, so between UNICEF and the United Nations Office for Project Support, UNOPS, who we just heard from just now. I'm very pleased to share that this facility consists of 2 parallel units that can produce, as we heard earlier, 100 to 120 oxygen cylinders per day when operating at full capacity. And vitally, this project included skills transfer to the Kitwe Teaching Hospital team. The manufacturer of the plant also trained the biomedical engineering team of Kitwe Teaching Hospital in all aspects of safely operating and maintaining this plant. That's a critical theme, safely operating and maintaining this plant. And so this capacity development is a vital ingredient of this plant's sustainability. This plant adds a new layer to the strength of the Zambian health system. Ladies and gentlemen, media, thank you. Medical oxygen was recognized by the World Health Organization as an essential medicine 45 years ago in 1979. And in 2007, or 17 years ago, WHO added medical oxygen to the model list of essential medicines for children. Then more recently, the COVID-19 pandemic reminded us of the importance of having medical oxygen ecosystems in place to save lives. It is clear to us all by now that having readily available medical oxygen is critical for the provision of quality care in many areas of medicine.
This achievement represents a significant advancement in strengthening Zambia's healthcare infrastructure and improving access to life-saving medical oxygen across the region.
And Copperbelt Provincial Health Officer Dr. Charles Mwinona highlights the benefits of the oxygen plant to the province.
Without obviously reliable supply of oxygen, Kitwe Teaching Hospital and other hospitals on the Copperbelt province, it would not be able to provide critical and life-saving health care services to the patients. So these hospital units consume on average 45 cylinders, as we briefed you earlier, that is per day. The 45 cylinders cost 432,000 kwacha per month, and per year the hospital spends about 5 million kwacha, 5,184,000 kwacha per year. The 5 million that will be saved will now obviously be directed to procurement of drugs and other consumables, and also to maintain this oxygen plant.
The construction of the oxygen plant in Quito will improve healthcare service provision, especially for newborn babies, delivering mothers, and those with respiratory complications. Liz Ngobeka reporting for Zanis in Quito.
We continue with the news. Nsama District Commissioner Stewart Katele has expressed concerns over the continued flooding of the infrastructure in Sumbu area along the shores of Lake Tanganyika. Mr. Katele notes that the floods have caused devastating effects on people and businesses. He said this in an interview with Zanis in Nsama shortly after inspecting some affected infrastructure in Sumbu area. And Rasford Kalumba, a Nsama resident, has also called on government to lessen the challenges people are facing.
Naya sangwa mu mafrats nayawa mulanduna menshi ukufula nama shops even ama business yali disturbed abantu tabale bomba bwino so ebwafya bukulire sana
atundo natukwata obulanda sana bakateka wezi batumonako futubundirwe atube batukitako ofuntegana basatukitako efintu ebisumakuno.
Thank you for that report. We now take our last break, and coming back, we have lions on the loose in Lukulu. Stay tuned.
How I Made It is a program that delves into the many success stories of different people from all walks of life. Watch How I Made It on Zanis TV every Thursday at 18:30 hours on the Topstar channel, channel 6 DTT, and channel 458 DTH.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. A pride of lions believed to have escaped from Kafue National has invaded villages along Luena River in Kashamba Ward of Lukulu District, causing fear among residents. Lukulu District Commissioner Kelly Kapuku, who in the company of officers from the Department of National Parks and Wildlife visited the invaded villages and has called on the community members to be wary of the deadly predators. And details in the following report by Cosmas Soka.
Residents of Kashamba Ward in Lukulu District are currently living in fear after a pride of lions believed to have escaped from Kafue National Park was spotted in the area. The lions, which have invaded villages along Luena River, have since killed 4 cows.
Today, early in the morning, the lions were seen. Two lions were sighted. And at the same time, they received another message from the other side of the river. The owner of the animals, he sent a word to say 3 animals were killed the same night. So we believe that the lions which distracted here are not the same ones which caused harm or killed other 3 cows the other side of the river. The community have been told to be very careful as they move around, because these beasts that are around. The main aim is to bring the team that is going to dart the same lions and be taken back to Kafue National Park where they come from.
Lukulu District Commissioner Kerry Kapaku, who visited the endangered villages, has called on community members to beware of the deadly predators.
This is the site where the cow was being eaten by lions, by the pride of lions. In fact, I'm told there were many. So what is there is in the morning, I'm told they have found about 2 lions near the farm here. Right now we're in the farm where the lion was being eaten by lions. And I'm told across again.
Meanwhile, the affected residents are hopeful that the lions will safely be darted back to the park. Cosmas Soka, Zanis in Lukulu District, Western Province.
Thank you, Cosmas Soka, for that report. Now, farmers in Nakondi District of Muchinga Province have been urged to sell their old stock of maize from the previous farming season to the Food Reserve Agency. More in this report.
The Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA in Kasama District, has intensified its sensitization exercise with taxpayers to start using the smart invoicing system. The smart invoicing system is an electronic system that will be used by ZRA to manage all invoices and stock data, which will be transmitted to ZRA by taxpayers. And the business community in Kasama District has welcomed the development, and some have already started using the system because of its benefits.
The collection of tax by Zambia Revenue Authority using smart invoice will collect tax from each and every business person, business companies, correctly, smartly, perfectly. That will increase also the new revenue base for our country. We will see a lot of construction on roads.
It will reduce VAT false claims, because most of the businessmen are known by false accounting in terms of revenues. It will reduce that with further heights.
And ZRA Assistant Inspector Musonga Chozu said over 300 taxpayers have been trained on the smart invoicing system in Kasama District.
And also, these interactions gives taxpayers a platform to ask as many questions as possible. We have trained about 300 taxpayers who we can surely state are well educated and well informed through these approaches that we took.
She also has an appeal for the VAT taxpayers whose due date to register on smart invoicing is 1st July 2024.
So we urge all the taxpayers who have not yet bought gadgets to buy gadgets, as you will not be able to trade with government institutions.
Reporting for Zanis in Kasama District, I'm Jafet Munkondia.
Thank you for that information. Now, Plan International Zambia has invested over 607,000 kwacha to procure bicycles in Chadiza district meant to benefit dedicated, enhanced volunteers. Plan International Zambia Eastern Province Program Area Manager Dennis Lembani says 135 volunteers have benefited. More in this report.
Supporting community volunteers in children-related programs is important, especially on long-term basis. Due to the long distance between communities, mobility becomes a challenge for volunteers to offer these services. This is why Plan International has come on board.
Of late Plan, we realized that our community facilitators has volunteers and bicycles, so they used to face a number of challenges in terms of mobility as they were coordinating transport project immediately. So far Plan has procured 135 bicycles that will cover 135 volunteers. That is for charities and also businesses. So basically they want to ensure that our work is done effectively with the support of the community. So these bicycles basically are quite expensive. So in total we have spent more than 600,000.
In complementing government's effort, many will be helped.
And district administration for your good gesture that you have demonstrated today. This is in the spirit to develop the welfare of our people. In this regard, a child and these adults are also beneficiaries in that vein. We are most grateful to the partners that you have partnered with in order to procure these bicycles to ease the work of our people on the ground.
For the 135 beneficiaries, monitoring and evaluation requires a special board. Jubel Zulu, Zanis, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
Now, Eastern Province has continued recording high numbers of underage pregnancies. Eastern Province Minister Peter Piri says he is optimistic that interventions such as the implementation of the free education policy will help in reducing the numbers. More in the following report.
In deliberate efforts to address pertinent health issues affecting adolescents in Eastern Province, the Ministry of Health has partnered with some non-government organizations to introduce the Adolescents Health Promotion Marathon. In a speech delivered on his behalf by Eastern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Dr. Mulenga Mwape, Provincial Minister Peter Piri shared these latest statistics.
Antenatal first visit for people aged 10 to 19, which is teenage pregnancy, was as high as 31%, the same as last year, the same period. Child marriages. The statistics that we have in Eastern Province are very glaring, and this government is here to reverse this trend, and we are reversing. We call on our traditional leadership in the province to support and stand with government to ensure that our men, our traditional values should support the thriving of women and girls.
And representing the Provincial Health Office, Dr. Francis Mubanga explained the reasons for hosting this marathon, an event that also enabled youths access to reproductive health services.
As Ministry of Health, we take keen interest in NCDs. These are non-communicable diseases. With this, it comes with great emphasis that we do acknowledge that we need to engage our adolescents in physical activity, and that's why we're here. We're here not just because of the run, we're here because we want to improve health service delivery by having healthy adolescents.
Meanwhile, adolescents who were in attendance have welcomed this initiative.
We are certain that this run will be just one among the many avenues that will help address some of the most pressing adolescent health issues, including teenage pregnancy and child marriage, which can lead to healthy complications and limit educational and economic opportunities.
Those who exhibited exceptional performance during the marathon were awarded. The run was held under the theme Run, Conquer and Thrive. Abigail Kashweka reporting in Chipata District.
And finally, in the news tonight, government has expressed happiness with the commencement of the construction of the 1.3 million Kwacha Community Skills Development Center by the Seventh-day Adventist SDA Church in Dorcas Mothers in Mongu District of Western Province. Provincial Minister Kapelwa Mbangweta said this when he graced the Seventh-day Adventist West Zambia Conference Dorcas Rally that is being held in Mweke area of Mongu District, where 2,500 Dorcas mothers from all 18 church districts in the province are in attendance. We have more in the following report.
The church is supplementing the government efforts to alleviate the livelihood of the vulnerable people in society through various ways. This is why the Seventh-day Adventist SDA Dorcas Mothers have come on board with its community works to build a community skills development center, a school, and a clinic in Sipopa area in Mongu. The move has since cheered Western Province Minister Kapelwa Mbangweta.
I've just passed through the community skills center which is being built on the other side, and then I was told that it's being funded from the funds that you donate. Again, that is a typical example of a project that typifies the relationship between the government and the church. Because for the government, we want to encourage skills development in our areas and the country so that youth can be fully employed by employing themselves and others. So when we see Dorcas mothers putting money together and building such facilities, we truly get inspired. So we would want to encourage you to continue with that spirit of service to the vulnerable.
SDA West Zambia Conference Executive Secretary Pastor Kayongo Ndala gave a brief on how the Dorcas mothers are operating, while SDA West Zambia Conference Dorcas Society President Rachel Mwisia was impressed with the Dorcas rally.
These women, they are the organ of the church that are tasked to do community services. That is to help the vulnerable in society. And these mothers donate their little, the little that they have out of their poverty, to make sure that others who are so vulnerable, maybe more than them, are also helped. This is a society that if they have the means would do even a greater more.
Mini mutiata bile bakensa kuli membership yana bile ye bile ngata hulu 2,500. Kono atikiba sali baba ngata batiyoko panela fa. Kutoko panela fa kwa luna kikutaha kuli mulimu aluncha fazi.
Later, The Dorcas mothers donated 2 deep freezers to the male and female sections and an upright fridge to the clinic at Mongu Correctional Facility, where management and the inmates were thankful for the gesture.
These donations could have come at the right time like this. We really appreciate you, sir, the Dorcas mothers, for what you have done.
I would like to register our most sincere gratitude for this help that you have extended to us. Indeed, it will go a long way in helping us as inmates.
Western Province Minister Kapelo Ambangweta urged the correctional facility management to position the fridges as prescribed by the church. Ikacha Nasindala, Zanis in Mongu, Western Province.
Well, that item brings us to the end of the news, and before I finish, we look at the headlines once again. Government committed to creating an enabling environment for journalists. Stored works at Mumba Trades Institute to resume. Nisama District Commissioner concerned with continued floods. An eastern province continues to record high teenage pregnancies. That is all we had for you, and on behalf of the entire news production crew here at Zanis, thank you for being with us. It has been Margaret Kangwa, and my sign language interpreter has been Joas Shikombwe. And a happy Press Freedom Day to all journalists across the country.